if someone said that one line of one opinion would be leaked by anyone, and you would say that, oh, that's impossible. No one would ever do that. There's such a belief in the rule of law, a belief in the court, a belief in what we were doing, that was verboten. It was beyond anyone's understanding, or at least anyone's imagination, that someone would do that. And look where we are, where now that trust or that belief is gone forever.
His former law clerk, John Yoo, was the one interviewing Justice Thomas when he made those comments, and John joins me now. John, beyond anyone's imagination is what stuck with me. Just something that it seemed impossible, and yet it happened.
The Supreme Court's been around for 230 years. It has decided many of the most important cases in our history. This is the first time an opinion has ever leaked from the Supreme Court. So yes, the justice is quite clear there in the interview, and I think everyone who served on the court or worked there would know this is a direct attack on the independence and integrity of the Supreme Court, unlike any that's ever happened before.
John, how does Justice Thomas feel about the notion that it's actually been cheered by a large portion of the media has said it was worth the leak, and a lot of people looked right over it?
As Charles, you said, it was my honor to interview the justice that day, and I think he couldn't have been clearer. The court, in order to do its job, to protect all of our individual rights, to make sure the Constitution works properly, has to be a legal institution. And if you have leaks, if it becomes like Congress or the president, it can't do its job anymore. So anyone who wants to win on Roe, pro-life or pro-choice, shouldn't want to leak, because it's sacrificing the authority of the Supreme Court in the long run as a legal institution that protects our constitutional rights, not as just another political body.
John, where does Justice Thomas, or do you know, where are we now with respect to finding the leaker?
He didn't say anything about that. And as someone I've served in all three branches of government, I've seen leaks. I have had been leaked against. I have very little faith that the leaker will be caught. Most leaks are investigated. They're never really, the leaker's very rarely caught. So I don't think that's going to be the solution for the court to rebuild that kind of trust that Justice Thomas is saying is imperative for the functioning of the Supreme Court.
Yet it's heartbreaking, because it feels like it would have to have been sanctioned perhaps by one of Justice Thomas's colleagues.
I hope that's not the case. I don't think Justice Thomas believes that. I could easily see it being one of the young law clerks. I was one of those law clerks once myself many years ago. Those might be the kind of people who would say Roe versus Wade is so important to me, and they might think it's even so important to the country that it's worth sacrificing the long-term health of the institution of the Supreme Court. But I think anyone with a long-term view, anyone who believes in the rule of law in our country and says the law and the Constitution are different than just politics, is going to be saddened by this and hope that the leak will be uncovered.
Has this leak, though, galvanized the justices themselves, putting aside their beliefs and interpretation of the Constitution as an entity, as a critical part of our democratic republic? Has it galvanized them in their roles?
Well, I think you saw from even that clip you played, Charles, that Justice Thomas is not angry. He's sorry. He feels regret, I think, that things have come to this. And I think he said pretty clearly, and I think even Chief Justice Roberts said pretty clearly, that the court is going to continue on with its mission. They're going to do their best to try to do their job. But of course, this is throwing the court onto the bonfire of our politics right now and into the midterm elections as an issue. So it's going to be hard for anybody to normally do their job with the kind of pressure and scrutiny that they're coming under. I hope it doesn't change the outcome of however the justices originally voted, because that will weaken the court as an institution. Yeah,
the notion of trying to intimidate any court, particularly the Supreme Court, is really scary. John, great work. Congratulations.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.